Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. I'm in this amazing place. Right, standing off my adventure, I'm going to take photographs of these sea stacks down here, but from the cliff tops up there. So this is going to be a hike and a half. Wish me luck. I'm in this amazing place. I think it's called Hartland Quays or Hartland or somewhere like that. Well, the hotel down there is called Hartland Quays Hotel anyway. So let me just explain what I'm doing. I was here yesterday on an experience day and I've never been here before and it blew me away. It was fantastic. So rather than go somewhere else today, I decided to come back and video and take lots of photographs, or as many as I possibly can. There are some slight issues when you come to a place like this though, and that is you really are governed by light. I think we're on the north side of the peninsula, so aiming right out to sea, right out there, that's where the sun is setting. I want to go down onto the beach to grab some shots looking out. Again, the problem is that because it's tidal, you can only get access to the best parts of the beach when the tide is on its way out, or certainly quite a bit of the way out. So I'm going to have to wait until later on for that. And well, that's it really. So I found myself wandering along the cliff tops, basically so I don't have to be governed too much by the light, so I could just point my camera down and see if I can maybe photograph these stacks, aiming my camera down the way. The only slight issue I've got is the wind is blowing a flaming hoolie, and as you know, I'm a bit of a big lump, and with gusts of over 40 miles an hour, it's a little bit scary when you're standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing that if you mess up or get it wrong, then you don't get a second chance to vlog it, if you know what I'm saying. So it's a little bit scary. But yeah, so the plan of action today, gonna wander right along the mountain or cliff tops and see if there's anything that I can photograph in terms of aiming down. I mean, it's just delightful, it's all delightful. There's a million and one different compositions, a million and one different pictures to be had. But yeah, you know what us landscape photographers are like, everything has to be 100% spot on or we're not happy. So my aim from this vlog is to grab as many shots as I can from the cliff tops, as many shots as I dare, looking down, long exposures, etc, etc, getting away with what I can with this wind and obviously the location that I'm currently at. And later on I'll choose my finest or my favorite composition and location and shoot it at sunset. Hopefully we'll have a nice sunset tonight. There's a few wispy clouds up there, so fingers crossed for a decent sunset. But that's my plan of action with this video. But I tell you what, I bang on about how gorgeous Scotland is, the Outer Hebrides, north of Scotland. I bang on about how fantastic, well, Glencoe is, Isle of Skye, Harris and Lewis, and of course the east coast of Scotland, and I mustn't forget North Wales, and I mustn't forget, of course, the Lake District. I bang on about how good these places are. Never been to Devon before. This place is spectacular, absolutely spectacular. The colour of the sea, the rocks, the geology, the sea stacks. I mean, look where I am now. I could give you a 360. It's just mind-blowing. People will travel all over the world for this, and I'm here. It's on our doorstep pretty much if you live in the UK. Now I know I've had to travel 5.5 hours to get down to here, but so what? God, it's so worth it. It is amazing. This is going to be my new favourite place. I mean, oh, I should have done a reveal shot as I walked across there and all that just became visible. It's just incredible. Look at this. For a 360, out to sea. Sea stacks on the other side, just there. Oh, what's not to like about this place? Seriously, what's not to like about this place? Let me explain something. Experienced day yesterday, a young man, age 17. He wants to be a photographer, loves landscape photography, and he's considering being a landscape photographer. So I had a chat with him and I said, look, there's one thing that you have to learn. There's one rule that you have to learn as a landscape photographer. It'll resonate with everybody when I explain what that rule is. And it is a rule. There's lots and lots of silly rules, lots and lots of important rules that you have to abide by, and of course rules that we all like to break. But there's one golden rule that you have to become very proficient at to become a real landscape photographer. Are you ready? And that rule is simple. You have to moan at everything. Seriously, you have to moan at everything. You have to learn to moan at the light. The sun's in the wrong location. It's too windy, there's not enough wind. The sea's too flat. We need more waves. It's raining. We could do with some rain. And seriously, the list goes on and on and on, but it's something that we all do. I'll give you a great example. Yesterday I was here and it was as still as a still thing. It was really, really still. So I was looking forward to, when I decided to come out today, to come back today and do some lovely walking along the top of the cliff shots with my drone, get some lovely dramatic drone shots. And of course today, 40 odd mile an hour gusts. It really is way, way too windy to get the drone out. So I'm moaning at that. I'm moaning at this. How can you moan at this place? But you come here and you think, oh, if only this was a sunrise location, or if only this wasn't governed by the tide, or if and it's like that all the flaming time. It is, especially as a vlogger. So we can moan all we want. The most important thing is you've got to work with what you've got. End of look at that. That's blooming awful. End of story. You've got to work with what you've got. So obviously I did say that a bit tongue-in-cheek, but isn't it true? The first thing we do when we turn up at a location, I wish it wasn't as sunny, I wish it was cloudy, I wish it wasn't as windy, I wish there was more wind so we'd have more waves, and I wish the tide was out, wish the tide was in. Anyway, yeah. What a place, look at this place, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. venturing down to the composition that I want to use and abuse for my sunset shot is going to be a little bit awkward because it will involve a bit of a climb down some rocks, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, shall we say. But before I head down there, with the sun dipping low in the horizon, it's casting a gorgeous light out to these rocks on my right hand side. They look absolutely terrific. So I'm going to take a couple of shots just to give myself options. I'm going to throw my long lens on there. I'm going to throw it all the way out. I won't be, from this distance, I won't be able to isolate any of the individual sea stacks and rocks, but maybe I might find a pattern or two that'll look interesting from here. But also what I want to do is put my 70 to 200mm lens on and take a nice panoramic sweep, because the rocks on the right hand side, or the cliffs on the right hand side, venturing all the way out, will look terrific. I think in a nice letterbox orientation will look really, really nice. But at the end of the day, you can think all you want. The most important thing is to throw your camera on, get yourself set up and take a few shots and see what it looks like after. There's a lot of wind, an awful lot of wind. So I'm just gonna edge my bets and probably sit down on the floor, get myself out of this wind just a little bit more. I think I might be asking a little bit too much if I'm stood up trying to take long exposures, especially by putting a long lens on. Might be asking a little bit too much. Let's pop my spikes out. I really need this tripod to be dug down into the ground itself and not floating on the grass, because that won't be any good at all. Okay, so I think the first things first, I'm going to just try and grab a couple of shots with my 70 to 200mm lens. So all I'm doing with this is looking for compositions, looking to see what will work. I'm looking in landscape orientation, I'm looking in portrait orientation. There's nothing in the foreground I can grab. I might like something like that. Again, it's nothing particularly brilliant. The most important thing for me when taking shots like this is to make sure something like this here doesn't end up here right on the edge of the frame. I hate that. So I'm going to move this somewhere like that, and then where do I want to place the horizon? Okay, so I'm not really feeling this. I might grab that shot there. For instance, I might grab that shot. Let's have a look. Let's just very quickly adjust the polarizer. I'm just taking the sheen off the sea. There you go, something like that. Let's get a focus on that point there. Again, thing is, I tend to get committed. So I'm looking at something like this now, and I tend to get committed. I quite like that particular shot. But very often I'll look right from the get-go and say, do you know what, that's not a world beater. That really isn't a world beater. Well, I'm committed now, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the picture. Just going to drop my ND grad on there. As soon as I put my holder on, it won't work without the holder, Gary. Alright, just dropping that ND grad on there. If you look at the sky now, drop that ND grad on there, that looks perfectly fine. And now let's just go through my settings in the normal way. If you look now, I'm on ISO 100 15th of a second at f11, and my histogram is looking perfect. So once again, 15th of a second equates to a minute exposure. Once you drop your 10-stop filter on the front of that lens like so. F11 ISO 100, straight to bold mode, just confirm ISO 100, F11, and therefore I'm now going to enable the timer in the camera. It's set at a minute, and away she goes. I've got to tell you, I've done some scary things in the past, but this tops them all. Not only did I want to come down to sea level, but you see so many pictures in this particular area that's all been shot from the same place, and that's because it's easily accessible. So the one way to overcome that, or to ensure that your pictures are different, is to go to places that aren't quite as accessible. Obviously, safety first at all times, but I've climbed down quite a steep cliff area, and to be fair, it wasn't slippery, but loads of overhanging rocks, and yeah, a bit scary, certainly for a man of my age. Maybe somebody a little bit younger would have handled it no problem at all. But look in the background, I'm right down onto sea level, right down to where the waves are, and if you look across here behind me, it just looks stunning. So I've got to wander around all these rocks now and try and find the composition for sunset tonight. The only problem is, now I've come this far down, the sun is way over there. So that's proving to be a little bit awkward, but as long as I've got a bit of sky, a little bit of colour in the sky, then that'll do me. But all around me, the tide is wishing and washing, and I'm really in an area where I'm guessing not many people, I'm no hero, but I'm guessing not many people actually come to grab a landscape image or landscape images. I'm not sure how much of this I can vlog. Oh, by the way, safety first. I know that the tide is still on its way out, but as you could probably tell by my voice, I'm a little bit apprehensive, just a little bit. What makes it worse is if I go through all this trouble and I don't end up with a decent picture. That'll kill me. That's worse than falling in the sea. I'm a great believer in risk and reward, but it's so annoying when the risk doesn't reap any benefits at all. A nightmare. You can't see. I've climbed from behind, climbed down. It doesn't look like anything, but trust me, it is a bit awkward. I went out as far as I could safely towards the sea, and there just wasn't a composition there. So very quickly, thinking on my feet, I decided to come back a bit and more over to the left hand side, which means nothing to you, but it's been a bit of a climb, and now I'm not altogether sure, I'm not 100% sure that I've got a clean composition, or a composition as clean as I'd like. I'm going to be shooting out at that big rock out there. Where is it? That big rock just there, aiming out into the sun, which is obviously falling down onto the horizon there, and I've got about 45 minutes to wait until that sun drops down, or until it's at least dark enough for me to start taking photographs. Obviously at the moment the light is really nice, it's casting lovely shadows but of course all that will start to disappear. So what I'm going to try and do is get my camera set up, grab some shots now once I've found my composition, and leave it, and then as the sun drops down, start taking more and more pictures just purely for the sky. Well, that was disappointing. I'm a great believer in risk and reward. If you do everything in a safe manner, or as safely as possible, where there's no pain, there's no gain, as they say. But tonight, I ruled with my heart and not with my head. I was so determined to get to a certain point, and it meant pretty much climbing down a cliff. And I was getting a few looks from people because I'm guessing it was a little bit dangerous doing what I did. But when eventually I got to where I wanted to go, there was just no composition. Everything was just completely different to how it looked from all the way up here. So I'm really annoyed. I'm going to have to admit defeat on this, and that's a lesson that I'm going to have to take home from this trip. Rule with your head, not with your heart. Damn, I'm so annoyed, because it was a fantastic sunset. The wind has just relaxed a bit now, has died off quite considerably. That's not helping the waves at all, but that's not relevant. The fact is, I'm just so annoyed with myself now. I really am. I really am. And because I lightened my load, when I got to where I wanted to go, and it took me about 40 minutes to get there, I thought I really could do with my 70 to 200mm lens now. I didn't have it. So there you go. You win some, you lose some. I suppose that's what it's all about. And I keep saying it, it's always good to leave something for another day. So that's it. Fingers crossed you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, especially if you're new here and you want to find your way back, do me a favor, hit that subscription button, and of course hit that bell button as well to receive all the notifications, and help support the channel by giving it a thumbs up. And that's it. Until the next time, cheers guys.